I'm Sophie.
And we're the Lancaster University Digital Content Ambassadors. And today we're going to talk about our experience with the transition from undergrad to postgrad. So I was studying literature and creative writing in my undergrad degree, and now I study MSc marketing.
And I also studied English literature with creative writing for my undergraduate, and now I'm studying social research for now.
So we're just going to answer some questions about the transition and just talk about our experience.
Yeah. What made you want to apply for a postgraduate degree?
Well, it was getting like mid-third time, and it was time to start thinking about like jobs and stuff. And I was the comms officer for my college, Finesse represent. And yeah, I loved doing that so much. Somebody said to me, well, why aren't you studying marketing or advertising or something like that? And I thought that's a really good question. So yeah, I started looking at courses to do that as a postgrad degree, and I really liked the one at Lancaster.
Yeah.
So, how about you?
I feel like my plan was a lot messier because originally in second year I sort of knew I wanted to do a master's. So originally I was going to continue with English Lit and do an English Lit master's. But then I think at the start of third year I changed my mind and decided to do an arts management one because I was more interested in the arts and cultural sector. So I applied for that, but then changed my mind again. And I think it was quite late on when I changed my mind. So then I decided to do social research. And I think because I really liked the theoretical side of English Lit, and I'd done research internships before, so I sort of wanted to merge the two.
Yeah.
So I just found I was more interested in that. So yeah, I guess that's mine.
Why did you want to keep studying at Lancaster?
Knowing that I sort of want to live in the Lancaster, Manchester sort of area, I think it's just a little bit better in terms of looking at other working opportunities up north rather than back home. I think that was a big point for me. What about you? Was yours something similar?
Yeah, a lot of the same reasons, but also like it's funny how attached you get to the like extracurricular things that you didn't realise. So like all like the pool and darts teams and like all the friends you make, like you say, and stuff like that, you end up wanting to like be a part of that and like keep being a part of that and societies and stuff like that. And I just felt like I wasn't done here.
Yeah.
And like when I ended up looking at my course here anyway, it was like really high in the league table. So it's like, why not stay here? And like you say, it's such an easier process. Just
Yeah. And when you know that you really enjoy campus as well, like I think a campus environment is really good for me. And I think because I'd spent the last 2 years living in town, I feel quite sad if I'd just gone to a different uni and not been back on campus, because that was like one of my favourite times being here. So yeah, I think that was another thing.
Yeah.
What was your experience with the application process?
Well, originally I was going to apply for a creative writing masters here. So I did that first, and they wanted a portfolio of work. So if I hadn't ended up applying for marketing, then I would have done that. But the management school, they got back to me within 2 weeks and just accepted my application. I did it online, it was pretty easy. I think because I was a returning student, that helped. And then it was pretty, that was about it. Like, pretty easy peasy, honestly.
Yeah. I think essentially the same for me too. I had some trouble because I was like, obviously, like I've already touched on before, applying for nearly like in total 3 different courses, like having not made my mind up. But I did find that particularly for arts management, they just got back to me like within days. I went to an open day for that, and the day after they got in touch about funding. So I just thought that was so helpful, and definitely made me want to do it more. But then just realising my interest changed, applying for social research was just so easy. And it does have a lot to do with us having studied here before. But then, if I'm remembering rightly, for the actual application process, there was some questions about like why you want to study it, like the general ones, but then any related work experience you have to do with it. and academic abilities and stuff like that. And I think I had to get a couple of references too.
Oh, okay. I think the good thing about Lancaster, and probably for many other unis, is that they have post-grad open days, and you have like advisors who you can go and speak to about it. You have careers advisors. So even if you're not really sure what you want to do or how to go about it, you can have that support.
Yeah.
So did you have any access to help with funding for your postgrad?
Not as much as I probably need, to be honest, because again, like applying quite late in the game really impacted it, and I'd already started applying for funding options for the arts management course, and then by the time I'd switched everything, the cut-off point had closed, so I couldn't get that funding other than like general student finance and then the alumni loyalty scheme. But I think you could probably say a lot more than I can for that.
Yeah. So I really stupidly didn't think about the funding side of my postgrad until like Easter, and then realised I had to just like come up with 16 grand out of nowhere. Obviously, like you said, the alumni scholarship is really helpful. You think you get slightly more if you get a first, and then a certain amount of first if you get
20 and 10%.
Yeah. So that was really helpful for a start. But then you get obviously the 10 grand loan from student finance, but that was not going to cover it for me.
No, absolutely.
So I ended up going to my department. I went to the base first, and then they sent me to the department, and they were actually really helpful. So I had to do a personal statement and update my CV and send it off as to why I wanted to study marketing, why I needed the extra funding and stuff. And I don't think it's guaranteed for everybody, but it was a great opportunity for me, and it ended up being successful. And I got some help with the tuition. So how have you found the transition from undergrad to postgrad?
To be honest, I found it quite hard because I didn't realise that there would even be a transition. Like any form of that. I think like with what people say about the jump from GCSEs to A-levels, if you remember that time, I think there is a jump from undergraduate to postgraduate, but that might have something to do with studying a new course. So like even just the newness of that can be a challenge in itself. I think having like the induction day, I don't know if you had an induction day as well. Yeah. I thought that was so helpful to just like meet everyone and meet the lecturers, get free pizza, and I think that was quite helpful because we made like group chats for certain like if people were all doing a certain module and stuff like that. So I thought that was helpful, and just I think in English Lit all the lecturers were so nice, and I think understanding and realising that it's the same in this department too, like being comfortable with where you are, that was really helpful for the transition. But I have found it difficult academically.
Yeah, like I've had a very similar experience because like you, I've like jumped from one course to another, and like literally just for me the modules that I picked up wasn't exam based, and now I am having to do exams, so that was a big jump for me, just because it's not the best thing that's suited to my skill set. But like it's nice to find that you can actually surprise yourself and do things that you didn't think you could do, and like when the challenges actually present to you and you're forced into that situation, like you can do exams, you can like do like computer software based like stuff and that kind of thing. The great thing about my course is that it's and probably for a lot of courses off campus is that it's like very heavy like in like the international side of it. So like I'd say about 85% of my course is international, and it's great because you get to meet people from all over the world, from all kinds of cultures, and for something that's like hands-on as marketing, like they have a very different experience of that kind of thing to you from like their whole country and stuff. And we had an induction week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, at the start of September and October. And we got to do like, because it's very like heavy in the group work in my course, they set us to the Lake District for a day, and we had to like partake in all of these team building exercises and stuff. It was a really great day, and those groups that you work with were the groups that you were gonna do with for the term. So like you get to meet everybody and like get to know each other before you having to do all of this like workload and stuff like that. I environment, it has been quite difficult. Like the workload is a lot heavier. Like you can't get by without doing things, doing work, kind of thing. But the challenge of it has been quite fun, I'd say, and I never expected to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you, like what you're saying about things being an achievement, like with having not like realising you can do the exam-based work. But and I think in my case, at the start of term 2, most of us had to hand in around like 15,000 words worth of work, which is like loads. And then you look back and you can't believe that you managed to do that, but it feels amazing that you could. And I don't know, I feel like in writing my actual dissertation, I'm just more chill about it, because I know that I can do it like within a matter of months.
Yeah, I used to look at like 1,500 word essays and think, oh my god, what a lot of words.
But and now it's like, whoa, 5,000 words per essay, what is going on? Yeah.
Literally. Yeah, I feel like having the postgrad experience on campus as well is a lot different, because you have, I mean, for me personally, I've had to move from finesse to grad in the collegiate system, so like I'm now having to play pool and darts for grad and stuff like that. And so you get to experience a completely different part of campus, like you live in grad, don't you, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, the spaces, there's a lot of study spaces around campus.
Yeah, I think that's what has really helped with the transition academically for me, because for undergrad, I think sometimes you struggle with spaces, particularly in exam season, just everyone's in the library. But for postgrad, you can actually book rooms around campus for work-related things. And then also there's loads of postgraduate study spaces specifically. So you just use your library card to get in. There's one in grad, so if I want to work, if I don't want to work at my desk, I can just go down to the study space there, and I can pop back for a cup of tea or for lunch or whatever, and go back again. And then even in the library, if you're up this end of the campus, there's a postgraduate study space on the seafloor that you can just use your library card again to get into. And I just think it's so nice to not have to think about that sort of thing. Like, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah,
and environment's so important
is.
when you're learning. Yeah, so that it's just so nice to not have to think about that.
Yeah, and I think it's great that grad get their own college in the uni, because we have something called the PG board, which is our version of JCR, and it means that we get our own events. You get your chance to meet like all kinds of people in grad who are not necessarily on your course. So if you're a new student coming from a different uni, like you still have a chance there to make friends outside your flat, outside your course, and we get looked after. And yeah, that's really nice. And it's great that you can still be a part of uni culture and Lancaster's uni culture as well, while doing your postgrad degree.
Definitely, yeah. What kind of accommodation is available to postgraduate students?
Well, the good thing there is that you live on campus and I live on town, so we have very different experiences. I do really love living in town, so in first year, I remember it was like really easy to decide who I was going to live with, because I just lived with my first year flatmates again, and then I lived with very similar people in third year. But then when it came to deciding on where I was going to live for my postgrad, because I decided on my postgrad so late, everybody had already kind of snapped up their situations and stuff, and because so many people graduated and getting jobs and stuff. So I ended up in a situation that I didn't expect, but I love it, and I suppose there are like many pros to living on campus and stuff, but the great thing about town is that it's a lot cheaper. You can get to go home at the end of the day, and get away from campus, because I found that when I was living on campus in first year, I'd go to town every few weeks and be like, whoa, there's a life outside Lancaster campus, what? So yeah, that's really nice, and yeah, we've managed to find ourselves like a great little flat for like quite cheap, and yeah, it's close to town. You got all the shops and stuff right there and stuff, and yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think what you were saying about how you go home at the end of the day and that's that. I think that's actually probably would have been good for me, because I have a really hard time like putting boundaries of when to stop working. It's uni, isn't it? It's not like a 9 to 5. So I imagine like if I physically got on a bus and went home, it would feel like home, whereas my laptop's on my desk, everything's there, so it's quite easy to just like, I think having that boundary is quite nice. And the actual town experience is very different to a campus experience.
Yeah, and I mean, the buses can get quite busy in the morning, so you have to make sure that you leave like with time to spare and stuff, which I suppose is like really different from your situation.
Yeah.
You might get up 10 minutes before a lecture.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it. That it's just so nice. But I think in undergraduate I was in Bowling, so that was like 10 minutes before a lecture. But now, because grad college is sort of at the edge of campus, it takes 10 minutes to walk into the centre-ish. So probably 20 minutes before. But to me personally, I do think I was ready to be back on campus because I'd lived in town for the last 2 years, and I think I just got a bit tired of it and wanted to live somewhere a bit quieter, because we lived at quite a busy area in the centre of town. I think I was just ready for the change, and I think it was first year nostalgia as well, like having that campus spirit that the college spirit that you really feel. So I was excited to come back and meet new flatmates and meet new people. And I think it's nice because on my course and just making friends through different people you meet at uni, you start to realise that everyone lives in like the next house over to you in grad college, which is really nice.
And I think grad being on the edge of campus is quite nice because like you say, like it'd be nice to go back to town so you know where the boundaries are, but at least you're not in Bowland in the centre of campus, like you're surrounded by lecture theatres and stuff like that. At least there's like a 10-minute walk back where you're not completely surrounded by complete uni work life.
Yeah, that's so true. So that was our experience of the transition from undergraduate to postgraduate. Thank you for watching. We hope you found something interesting or helpful. And if you have any comments or questions, then you can contact the uni social media pages, and someone will be happy to help you out and get in touch.
I'll comment down below.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for watching.
Bye.